of shit. Oh, she's late. She's late. Excuse you? Do you manage a restaurant?
A whole 2 minutes late. Oh, God.
Oh, that's a running gag on my streams. You have to understand. I don't
Uh,
I don't know if horror realizes it, guys. So let me explain. My mod, Choco Hooligan. If I am late, and when I mean late, I mean like it hit noon, and it is noon point 0.00000 seconds, and I hit live. Then I am now late. And so now it's a big thing. So if I'm ever actually late, oh, look how much swell, guys! I have been swelling this whole week because I've been working doubles. Matthew, have I not been busting ass this whole week? It's bad. I'm so swollen. I haven't been able to do plasma donation.
oh, God.
I swelled up so much. I can feel it. He's bad. He's bad. Loving that gothic shirts, right? I gotta represent my baby. Whatchamacalls it though? Oh, shut up. Don't talk back. Matt, I don't think she likes it.
Who doesn't like what?
So we had to sacrifice. We got a little bit of help today. We had to sacrifice and get cheaper litter we don't normally get.
Uh-oh.
Hearing is Nova, who's currently christening that particular litter box. I don't know how she feels, but the yowling isn't a good sign. Well, she's taking her dump. Okay, listen, we'll see. Oh, and I just agreed. Oh, you're still on. Shit on shit. And I just agreed to taking on babysitting again for my followers that remember how I used to babysit all the time. Well, guess what, kids? It's happening again. And I just also applied to take on another part-time job.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just warning you all, Star Sign will have zero free time. As a matter of fact, because I have to do so much tomorrow, for my OGs and anyone that asks, my stream won't be till tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as well, my chat and draw. All right, now that I've bitched enough about my own life and I've been horribly rude to Horror, how are you doing, my love?
Oh, I've been better. Dog tried to give me a heart attack today, so
now what
there's that. You know, I have had pets my entire damn life. Whole life. I've had dogs run off on me. I've had all sorts of things happen. And because of that, I'm typically very careful.
Right.
And I take the puppy. Puppy comes to work with me every day. So I take the puppy to work. Puppy's acting squirrely, so I figure he's got to go out.
Hi, sheeps.
Starson says hi, honey. So I put him on, or I take his leash. We go out. Somebody comes out of the store because there's a little, there's just a little strip of green where he likes to pee. And he also loves people. So his first instinct is when he sees someone is to turn and run for the person. Well, I was not holding the leash tight enough, so it popped out of my hand. That person got in their car, started backing up as he was literally right under the back tire. Not kidding. He was like this far from the back tire, and he would take a step forward and the tire would roll back a little. He would take a step forward and the tire would roll back a little. And I'm screaming, wait, hold on, watch out, as I literally push my body into his car so that I can reach down to grab the leash and pull the dog away. And I mean, it's not like he wasn't looking. He was looking forward at this guy trying to get into his truck. So,
but he's so small. A truck is so big. Oh my god.
It goes to show that, I mean, that's the closest I've ever had to having an animal hit by a car. Ever, that I am aware of. I have never had an animal, a pet of mine that close. I could see him right there. He was literally nearly, oh God, I can't even begin to explain the panic I was having, just waiting for that wheel to actually impact him.
I have only one similar story. And it's not even as severe as that. Well, okay, it's a different kind of severe. I had Orion and Greta out in the front. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, my front yard has no fence. The backyard has a 6-foot fence. They can run free all they want. Unattended, I'm fine. I brought them out front to play frisbee, which is what I used to do fairly often when I first moved here, because I did not realize how many stray animals wandered around. And as you all know, Orion has prey drive. And thanks to certain screw ups on my end, it got worse. Well, there's a cat in the neighborhood we call Gray Cat. Take a guess why. And there was a cat called Tip Ear. There's a cat called Gray Cat. Tip Ear we haven't seen in a while. We think she died. She belonged to the next door neighbors. We called her Tip Ear because both of her ears look like something gnawed on them. And Gray Cat and her didn't get along. Gray Cat, as of recent, has been smarter and stayed away from our property. But Gray Cat would get kind of stupid. He would walk on the fence, which is only that wide, while the dogs are in the yard. He nearly fell into the yard once with Orion in there. And a lot of the cats tend to, for some reason, even though there was not a single food source in the yard, they center around the yard, which is where the dogs go.
Mm-hmm.
I was out front. I have frisbees because Orion and Greta love playing frisbee. It's one of their favorite games together. Gray Cat appeared. And I thought I had, because at the time, Orion had just, his electric collar had just gotten eaten. He had just destroyed it. But I thought I might be able to catch him. He saw Gray Cat. He bolted.
Yep.
He made it across the road. He made it into the neighbor's yard, and he nearly disappeared.
Oh.
And the thing is, guys, when I say I live out in the country, I think I showed you the Google Maps location, but let me tell you something. I live so out in the country, guys. There's miles of farmland around me and a lot of yahoos with guns.
Yep.
And Orion is a very large dog, and my neighbor across the street absolutely has a gun. So, yeah, yep, that sounds like Orion. See, Raven knows. And so I'm screaming. And the thing is, guys, this was around the time that Starsan's agility went. So I couldn't run like I used to. And I was screaming. Oh my god, I was screaming bloody murder. Breen! And by the way, hi everybody. That was the closest I've come to that, besides when Axel went missing. When Axel went missing, that was the only other time. And when I found him, he was only missing for hours, like not days, hours.
Oh god, I got a story about that.
So both times he was trapped in a car.
No.
His own choice. And the only reason he came out was because he heard my voice. Both times, guys, when I tell you, I collapsed with him in my arms crying. It's one of my biggest fears. I have some, there's all these fears that I have that rank. One of them being falling in the tub, because who remembers back in the early 90s when Maury Povich would have these stories of women falling in the tub and cracking their head open and no one would find them for hours and they bled out.
Yeah, so, I still worry about that occasionally.
Right. Well, here's the thing, right? My tub I have here is extremely slick. Like, extremely slick. So slick that Starman has almost fallen a couple of... No, he has. He's fallen. For the first time, I think it was in the summer, I fell. And when I fell, my foot slid out and the trajectory was so bad, I literally went airborne. Like, it shot me in the air, but here's where it's funny. I landed on my ass on the side of the tub and it bounced me up and I went into the tub. My ass is so big, it saved me that time. Well, that time I was okay, but the second time was actually in January. And that time I did not fall easy because I started panicking because I already knew I'd fallen once. I did not, and I had a whole ass panic attack afterwards. I spun in the air. You know when you have those things, whole slow motion? I spun in the and my whole side was black and blue. I hit that thing like a ton of bricks. And then I sat there crying. But I wasn't crying because I was scared or sad. I sat there crying because I was pissed. It's the whole thing. Let me tell you. Oh, Choco. It is 3 a.m. for this little darling. I do want to also let you guys know, because it's been such a long week, and because Horror is also recovering from an illness, and I literally have to write a proposal script for a potential job. I have to film a video. I have to go to bed by a little after midnight. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to make sure that I leave the house by 8:30 a.m. to be back here by noon to go get plasma. So yeah, it's not going to be 3 hours like normal.
No.
So go ahead, your story about lost animal, missing animal.
Oh, okay, so yeah, cat. One day we go downstairs and we generally let the cats do whatever they want, so it's not unusual to not see them for a couple hours.
Right.
But you expect to see them at least once a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed I hadn't seen Alex. And this was the time we just had Alex. Alex was the only cat in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking around. I'm like, well, where's Alex? And I looked, in his usual hiding spots. See, we had pedestals under our washer and dryer, and he used to crawl into those from behind and
Right.
everywhere. Couldn't find him. Nowhere. Looked, up and down and under and around, and I'm starting to worry, am I going to start smelling his dead body at some point? And
they're dead.
Yeah. But nothing. I can't find him anywhere. We're trying, like, well, where is he? How did he get out if he got out? Because he wasn't a cat. He's still not a cat who likes to go outside a whole lot. And we couldn't figure out even when he got out, but he must have gotten out of the house. And so, we're kind of sad and scared and keep looking around, posted on the on Facebook and checked in with the Humane Society. And, every now and then I'd go out and start calling him and looking around, and still nothing and still nothing. So 6 weeks pass. It's like, well, you know what? We have to get another cat because we get mice. So we kind of have to have a cat. And, you don't really want to, but you kind of got us. So I go up to the Humane Society and I pick out this black cat, Vincent. And, and they're like, well, why don't you get 2? It's good for them. And yeah, I know they're overcrowded anyway. And I had seen another one that I would have taken. And I called my mom. I was like, they're saying maybe we should get 2. And I'm like, and she's like, no. Because as soon as you do that, Alex is going to show up and I'm going to have 3 cats. And I'm like, okay, you have a point. Okay. So we get the 1 cat. So the day I am picking up Vincent from the vet after he's been fixed and bringing him home, I get a call.
Stop.
Hello? This is about Caleb. And I'm like, who's Caleb? Because I'd changed his name to Alex and I'd totally forgotten what his shelter name had been. And then I realized, oh shit, this is the shelter. They have Alex. They'd just picked him up. He had gotten himself across town. Dead ass serious. A good 10 miles away from home.
Oh my God.
And he was the first cat in microchip your pets, people. Microchip your pets and make sure you have it registered in your name so they call you when they scan it.
Every animal I have is microchipped.
Every animal. Well, the puppy's not microchipped yet, but he's got to get microchipped.
Well, yeah, Daisy is the only one. I don't know if Hendrix is. Hendrix would be registered under somebody else. That's the only reason why I haven't taken Hendrix, because I don't know how to, get the microchip switched over to me, because the person who owned him is dead. And my friend who owned him afterwards. Anyways, I'm so glad you found him, because guess what? The only other animal that ever went missing. And see, I blame my parents, because you see, my mom and dad, I love my parents dearly. My mother and father, especially, my mother's gone now, so she can't defend herself. My dad, he's still here, and I can say both of them. They were stupid as fuck for this. We had a young male cat. Okay, we've never had a male cat before Zora. We never have. We always have females. Okay, that's to begin with. Okay, let's start with that. Here's the other problem. Other problem is with Zorro, he liked to wander. my mother and father's back screen door had been busted for as long as I've been alive. It literally sat there by just the top. When you opened it and closed it, the bottom flapped open. It was a glorified curtain. And so they would leave it open during the summer because, I said, we grew up poor. We had no central air. And the summers, if you are a Rhode Islander or anyone that lives near the ocean, you understand that it is muggy as when you are near the ocean. It doesn't matter if you're 30 miles inland, you'll still feel it. And so Rhode Island gets so muggy, so grossly muggy. And my parents left their backsliding door open, just the screen. It was a thunderstorm night. It was super gross. And yes, that is actually black cats. Yes, Bublito, that is actually black cats. I didn't know you didn't know that, but yes, this is a user of mine on Instagram and on YouTube goes by Black Cats, but on Discord she's called Topaz. And Bublito is absolutely blown away by this. So the thunderstorm goes by. Next morning I wake up. I'm looking everywhere. Zorro's not coming. I can't find Zorro. I look everywhere. My dad is trying to poo-poo it like, oh, Cassandra, he's in the house. He's probably in the basement. Oh, he might have snuck up into the attic. And so, shock, Zorro snuck out to the storm door. This was my birthday. Okay?
Oh,
shit. My birthday morning. And Zorro was kind of like my antidepressant at the time. We got him after my cat Seamus had passed away. And he is the last gift I have from Brandon, who passed away. At the time, it was a whole... Brandon has only passed away like recently. This was when Zorro was a kitten. Okay? So, we're looking everywhere. We searched the yard. We searched the houses around it. Because we had a half-acre of land, and the problem is, where we lived in Rhode Island, once again, where the banjos play, we had coyotes, we had coy wolves, we had bobcats, we had fisher cats. The skunks in Rhode Island are not small. Skunks in Rhode Island can get I'm talking like as big as a medium dog. Okay?
Skunks can get big.
Oh, yeah. The raccoons would fight you, everything. Well, Matt and I, after like 3 or 4 hours of searching, I'm about ready to give up. I go over to the front porch where we had recently renovated the stairs after being disgusting for my entire life. They had recently made the stairs wooden, and they were very tightly hammered in place over the previous cement stairs. And I'm sitting there, I'm crying, and I hear... Zorro had wedged himself under the stairs. He got half himself out. We pulled the rest of him out. And he was covered in sap, because we have pine trees all over my yard. Sap, blood, and mud.
Uh-oh.
Never figured out whose blood it was, because it wasn't his. And Zorro never tried to get out after that. It's only recently, since we moved like here, that Zorro will once in a while be like, Before we couldn't keep him away from the door. He used to try to get out all the time. No, now you know life is cushy in here, don't you, bitch? I like how all my regulars are like, oh, Zorro, listen, don't pump his ego. As you can see, he already is full of himself.
It's a black cat for you.
Mm-hmm. It's a tuxedo. It's a tux thing. See, because he's mulatto. That's
yeah.
Coming out. But Horror sent me something today, which is, yesterday, that boils the ever-living shit out of my blood. Horror, why don't you tell the kids? Why don't you tell the kids what you showed me? Because I've been fighting this fight for years. And when I tell you, it's one of the things that makes me so angry.
You and me both. I mean, and it's not the first time I've even seen someone do it. You put two bowls in front of a dog, and one's full of vegetables, and the other's full of meat. Which do you think that dog's gonna eat?
Of course, the vegetables.
Because you raised them on the vegetables. Because you've been feeding them the vegetables.
Right.
Because
The vegan teacher tells me that no dog wants to eat other animals.
he prefers the vegetables.
Right. He just want to eat his friends.
No.
That's Hawaiian.
No, and it's so healthy for them.
It is. It's not like cats are obligate carnivores. No. No, not at all. Let me tell you something, guys. There was this woman on Hoarders. This haunts me.
I think I know. I mean, I've seen all the Hoarders.
You might know what I'm talking about. She fed her cats only white rice. Her cat's jaws were disintegrating. Here's why. Does anyone know what an obligate carnivore is? Take a guess, kids. Go ahead, have fun in the chat. Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of people seem to forget what the fuck obligate means. And it pisses me off because people like the vegan teacher that sit there and go, no animal wants to do. Number one, there is no such thing as a vegan animal. There is none. All animals eat some kind of animal product.
Even if by accident.
Even by accident. Mostly on purpose. They'll eat the bones of an animal. A lot of herbivores and herd animals will eat bones happily, by choice. There has been cows that eat meat by choice. Yes, their stomach's not designed to eat it all the time, but they will if they're missing nutrients in their system. Cats require taurine. Taurine is only found in raw meat and in the whole body. Well, they're saying they like your glasses.
Thank you. I like these glasses too.
And when you don't give them what they need, their body starts to shut down by sucking out nutrients and trying to send it to more important things. That's why the cat's bones were disintegrating, because the bones were not as important as the organs, and they were taking away vital nutrients to try to save these. Half of them, no, more than half, almost all the cats had to be euthanized because they were living. I mean, they were. You're seeing like drawings of cats, like in cartoons, where it's like a skeleton and it's sucked up like that, and it just looks. That was how it was. Oh my god, vegan teacher, I can't stand her. Yeah, cows will. The funniest thing is when people realize birds are carnivores and squirrels are carnivores. I love seeing people's like entire world shatter. If the animal eats nuts, 9 to the 10, it also eats some kind of insect and or other animal. There are certain species of birds that decapitate their prey and leave them on spikes. This is really fucking cool. What's the one I tagged you in? I can't remember now. I tagged you in something well, but I have a lot of vegans who, I don't know if this is a problem you faced, Horror. A lot of vegans sit there and say it's not fair to force my cat to eat other animals, and I'm like, whose moral high ground? You're attributing human moral high ground to animals, and you are thusly doing animal abuse. Well, and what I love is the same thing as like when people talk to me about Purina or Pedigree. Well, my animal lives perfectly fine. Okay, so your one animal happens to be somewhat healthy on this for the moment. So that means everybody's must be perfect. Nothing's ever going to happen.
I mean, I had one of those moments. I was looking at my eggs. I was getting my eggs out to eat some, and I like pasture raised eggs because then they get to get out and do their chicken thing. And I'm looking at it, and I open it, and it says vegan fed,
and immediately you feel less happy.
Yeah. I mean, I get that means the food that they're providing for the chickens is vegan, but all I can think is I'm very grateful these chickens are pasture raised so they can get the bugs they need.
You should be feeding your chickens a variety of things. You can feed them all sorts of meats. There are actually more vegetables that are dangerous for chickens to eat than meats. But you, especially if you have chickens, you need to be throwing them mealworms as much as
Hmm.
possible. Like it's good for them. They eat oyster shells. Why do they eat oyster shells? Because that helps with the healthier eggs. Saw a cow eat part of a snake 2 days ago. Kind of creepy. Not sure if you even noticed. Charlie Bull. Charlie Bull? I never heard of that one. Ooh. Have you ever heard of a farrow deer?
I haven't. Oh
Or
wait, no, I
access?
think I might have.
Let me tell you something. Someone remind Bublito, you're here. Remind me in about 20 minutes to look up a farrow deer and an axis deer and show everybody. They're really pretty, but we're still on the vegan shit, and I don't want to lose track of it because it pisses me so much. But unless you want to look it up, my hands are tied.
Yeah, no, I can do it.
But whatchamacalls it, when it comes to the vegan stuff, it's
Yeah,
it
I've seen
bothers
these.
me so much, guys, because you want to take part in that, fine, but it's the same reason why if you force your kid, I didn't mean send, I meant say it in chat, Bubblito. What you send me is shit that doesn't need to be posted, like a gif of Pepe bouncing up and down. Starson can read. This is why I don't allow my mods in chat. But
You're right.
I I personally don't understand the need to force those under you to your moral standard. I don't get it.
Because they don't understand biology. I mean, thankfully, we don't run into the whole feed your animals a vegan diet here just because none of us, for the most part, in Montana are vegan.
You're in Montana, girl. There's a whole reason why you won't see that.
Mm.
There's a lot of reasons why you won't see that. But what did I? There was something that happened today.
You sent me, I don't know if you sent me anything today. I know you sent me yesterday, I think, a video that
Oh, thank you,
I tried to
Jane.
watch it at the time you sent it, but it wouldn't come up. Oh, here we are. Man of wife with dog's deadly attack arrested, according to affidavit.
Ah,
Yeah, because at the time I went to try to watch it, it wouldn't let me watch it.
so what that is about is these two people on their own were raising pit bulls.
Just blow my nose real quick.
Yeah. That post on Discord. Probably not Derp. I've been Derp, when I tell you, it's been a very busy week. I've worked 3 double shifts. Then we had the busiest Saturday and the busiest no, Sunday was pretty quiet restaurant wise, and we still had to do a lot of cleanup. And then I went to Dad's, then I went home. I don't think to know. I really haven't been on for more than a few seconds, honey. I'm sorry. No mods in chat. No mods in chat. The arrival name is what? Wait, the arrival name? Did I say arrival name? Oh gosh, Horror muted her mic for the blowing of the nose.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think anybody wants to hear that.
Well, these two people, they were raising their dogs to fight, to be aggressive. Okay. They did not train them for anything else. They specifically wanted them meat aggressive, which is like, are you retarded? Like, what are you doing? And two of their pits got out and mauled a 83, 84-year-old man to death. Well, they were like, well, I can't imagine any of my babies ever doing this. This is why pit bulls have a bad reputation, guys. Because you get one douche or a pair of douches that sit there and they raise these dogs to have some form of aggression. Then they leave them outside all day long.
Without any kind of attention.
No attention. And the only attention they get is usually to teach them how to be aggressive. They become territorial because aggression usually leads to some kind of territory and resource guarding.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see someone they find as a threat, could be anything, and they launch. Both dogs had to be taken out. Oh, Chaco's going home. We're going to sleep.
Night, Chaco.
Love you, Sponge. But it's the same thing over and over again. It's like the same people that buy exotics. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But they do it anyway. Oh, good gosh. Sorry, guys. Oh, and apparently I've been getting a lot of bear. Oh, thank you, James. Yeah, I heard about this. Did you hear about it?
Mm-mm.
Apparently Candace Owens did a video or a story on pit bulls. Should we look it up?
Might as well. Let me, I'll do the Googling since you've got a friend there.
Yeah. He didn't get to see me all day. I've been gone since 11:30, guys. And I'll be gone for most of the day tomorrow, too. My animals don't know what to do with me. I tolerate you. Bite me, Sponge. You saw it, Sam? Oh, no.
Is it an article? Or...
Yeah, I think she did a segment, like an actual segment. I know that
I see she's agreeing with whatever's retardedness and Cernovich or whatever.
I don't know. I think I know the name. So I know that Matt Walsh and Mike Knowles, they both don't like pit bulls. And I'm
Matt
like,
Walsh is so far up oh, sorry.
No?
I was just saying Matt Walsh is so far up his own ass.
I like Matt Walsh 80% of the time. There's times when I don't. Well, it's like somebody in my on my YouTube comment chat today. They were like, I agree with most of what you say, even though I'm liberal. But my dude, why are you agreeing with just Pearly things? Number one, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything Pearly says, but in that particular video, yeah, women do kind of have it easier in a lot of ways. Are there things women have a harder time in? Yeah, but that's just there's a lot of things in society right now that women get to get away with that men don't.
Yeah. Especially now. Did you want to pull that up?
Yeah, let's. Hopefully, we don't get copyrighted because we did.
Yeah.
I thought we got copyrighted the other day. I got a strike on the video,
and
I thought it was for me playing the Block Island Ferry. No, it's one of the other videos you and I reviewed, and I don't even know what it was copyrighted. But I was like, mute it. I don't fucking care. Not taking my $40 in super chats. It's mine.
Oh, it was probably the maybe that animal video, that the drug one.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
If we just stop occasionally and don't just watch it straight through, we should be fine.
Look a plan to me, sister.
Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I don't have anything too
I didn't.
Controversial for you today. I'm just going to weigh in on the question of whether or not we should ban pit bulls. Should we ban them? I think the time has come for me to give my opinion. Plus, later on in the show, we're going to talk about Saturday Night Live because apparently they've gone full anti-vax, and we love to see it. All that and more today coming up on Candace Owens.
Oh, God, let's skip this part.
Yeah, we don't need, because I think the intro, oh no, it's only a few seconds. I guess we have to keep it.
So another 80-year-old has been mauled to death by a pit bull. And of course, every time somebody's killed by a pit bull, everyone starts debating online and screaming at each other about whether or not pit bulls are really just nice puppies, and it's really up to the owner to train them to be killers, or whether they are stone cold killers all by themselves. And I've not weighed in on this debate because it just...
Okay, I'm going to stop real quick just because we need to, just in case they want to copyright us, but also...
Look at what's in the back.
I really hate it when people start with this. I need to give my opinion. No.
You don't need to.
You don't actually.
I don't know a single animal view that she's ever given.
I don't know any. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, there's. I don't. don't know that there's a whole bunch of people out here sitting here waiting anxiously for Candace Owens' opinion on pit bulls. I just don't. So I had to get that out because she said it like twice and it really starts to irritate.
But I do wonder, because I think the problem is a lot of people do. Apparently, it's a very liberal mindset to like pit bulls, and it's a very Republican mindset to hate them. I'm like, right? And this is what I hear a lot. And so I have had people, I have seen them in comment sections about it. Like, a lot of people get mad at Steven Crowder because he has Doggo Argentinos. Why? Because Doggo Argentinos look a hell of a lot like a pit bull. Because they do run from the same genus, or rather, you know what I mean, not genus.
Mm-hmm.
But they run from the same breed. There's a lot of breeds that are similar, and so they kind of look the same. I'm anxious for Candace Owens, but I'm a simp.
I will say I've found it's more people who are authoritarian are against them, and people who aren't against them.
No, usually it's people I find that are typically like pretty, like, you know, free this and everything that and like they're the Republicans that I see that are pro pit bull, and the Republicans that I see that are not pro pit bull both tend to have the same standard. It's weird. Let's see what she has to say. I'm
seems so evident and obvious and borderline stupid that we keep having this discussion over and over again. But today, I'm going to weigh in. So everybody buckle up. Get ready to be super angry in the comments. First and foremost, let's just start with some arbitrary facts. In terms of dog breeds, you are most likely to be bitten by a Jack Russell Terrier. Did you know that?
Actually, yes, I did.
Yes, we did. Uh-oh. Were you guys baiting me this whole time? Am I going to be happy? Holy shit. Were you all baiting me?
She could be baiting you too, so.
We're going to see.
Hold your hand. Oh, hold your pants. Let's go.
Also on the list of breeds that are most likely to bite you are Chihuahuas. I definitely knew that because I can't stand Chihuahuas. I'm sorry if you're a Chihuahua owner.
Chihuahuas
obviously, they are not very nice dogs. They yap all the time and they bite a lot, but nobody cares about Jack Russell Terriers or Chihuahuas biting because at the end of the day, you can punt them. You could punt them for a couple of points if you needed to, right?
Not wrong.
Not the same circumstance when it comes to pit bulls. So let's go over some statistics. Again, these are the facts. Don't be mad at me for being the messenger. This is dated for the 2020 year. Pit bulls are indeed, of course, the most fatal dogs. 65% of all deaths by dogs are committed by pit bulls. 65%. That is 284 deaths per year.
Pause
that. It's really not that many deaths.
Now, okay, Google, how many pit bulls live in America right now? This bitch is answering from another fucking room again. Oh my God.
It happens every damn time. You know what the definition of insanity is, right?
How many pit bulls are in America right now? Pisses me the fuck off. 4.5 million pit bulls. Now. She said 280 what? 284. Let's do some math, okay? So 284 to 4.5 million. So let's do this. Here's how you do it. You got to figure out a percentage. So we'll say 0.003% times 4.5 million. That's 135. Okay, so we're a little low. So let's see. So let's say 0.03%. No.
I think there's a better way to do this. What is it here?
How I do is it, but this is my point though. 1, 2.
How many million did you say?
It is 4,500,000 pit bulls. It's less than 0.005% of the math of the population, guys.
Let's put it this way. If you were to turn this into a percentage, it's going to be, you're talking about like 0.06.
No, because 0.03 is 1,000. .03 is over 1,300. Let's see. I'm gonna say 0. We'll try 0.007. That's usually pretty. Okay, so it's just around, because it's 315 deaths if it's 0.007. Okay, so roughly 0.007% of the pit bull population is fatal out of 4.5 million dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But let's ban them all. Yeah, fuck them.
I wonder how many cows people kill in here.
The animals most fatal in America are mosquitoes and deer. Those are the two most fatal animals. You are more likely to be killed by a dog than a shark, but you are more likely to be killed by a cow than a dog. You're most likely to be killed by a moose or a deer or a mosquito. Though mosquito is the #1 dangerous animal in the world because of malaria.
Mm-hmm.
Continue. Let's see what she has to say.
Oh, where'd it go? Oh, crap. I screwed up.
Did you lose her? I see her.
You do? I don't. What did I do wrong?
And a vending machine is more likely to kill you than a shark, right? Because a vending machine falls on you.
Oh, there it is.
In second place, and this is a long away second place, are Rottweilers. They account for 10% of all deaths and 45 deaths per year. And as another fact, in 2021, of the 51 Americans that were killed by dogs, 37 of them were killed by one or more pit bulls. Okay, now let's get into the history of pit bulls as a breed. In case you don't know this, the ancestors of pit bulls can be traced back over 2,000 years to the United Kingdom. Originally, the pit bull was bred from the Old English Bulldog, which has a look that is not too entirely dissimilar from the American Bulldog.
Well, I mean, considering they're related. But Lito, I looked up the Pharaoh deer. She doesn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, she made sure to get them up while I was saying it. But thank you, Bub.
We see today. If you didn't already know, pit bulls are the result of crossbreeding bulldogs with various terrier breeds.
Yep.
The dogs were used for bull baiting. It was a sport in which a couple of bulldogs would annoy and attack a bull until the animal gave up and collapsed. But that's not it. They were also bred to bite and hold bears and other large animals around the face and the head. Okay, so that is obviously very relevant. An animal that is capable of biting and attacking a bear. This sport, along with other baiting sports, was outlawed back in 1835. Then a new sport came of interest, and this was called ratting. Dogs were pitted against rats in competition as to whose dog could kill the most rats, and that is where the name pit bull derives from. The fact that rats were put into the pit.
They would put the pit bull into a pit. I think someone's on my counter. They would put the pit bull into a pit with rats. Yep. And they actually still use pit bulls today. Some of the most eco-friendly ways to get pest control. You get a pile of minks, stoats. Some guys use monitor lizards and dogs, and they go and they find the rats for you. It's brutal to watch.
Yeah, it's just nature.
Pit in a bid to stop them from escaping. With time, that sport then turned into just dogfighting because it was easier to hide from the authorities. And obviously, dogfighting, even though it is illegal, does still go on today, even in the United States.
Wait, so they stopped them from killing rats so that they could fight each other? Can someone explain to me why this was a good idea?
So the reason why they did that is because it was easier. If you had to go and collect the rats and you had to get the pit full of rats and everything. Hi, Leon. You had to get the pit full of rats. It was much more difficult. Whereas if you just had two dogs going at each other, you just grab them and go when you need to. Because pit bulls, a lot of pit bulls when they're in fighting are trained that if you reach in as a person, they're not supposed to attack you. Now, I get some conflicting things on that. Some people say that when it comes to it, that No dog fighter does that. I hear some say that that's every dog. You will find that most fighting dogs tend to be very kindly towards humans, but because they're so heavily abused, it's also why you'll find that once you put them into an uncomfortable position, they will lash out.
Yeah, no, my only thought here is if they'd kept the rat fights where you're killing an animal that is objectively a pest legal, it wouldn't have led to dog fights where you're just letting animals tear each other up for fun.
Well, it was gambling, which I think was against the king anyway. There was a whole thing. A lot of gambling, like cockfights, got banned for the same reason. A lot of it is gambling, as far as I know, was outlawed in most monarchy-run.
Yeah, no, I just it's one of those things where the government just made things worse. That's all. I can't. I have to point it out when it happens. What can I say? Plus, we have to stop occasionally anyway.
Of America. So yes, it is correct to say that these dogs were bred to fight. They were bred to attack, and they were bred to kill over many, many years. And the question of whether or not breeding works, of course it does. The question of whether or not Darwinism is real, of course it is. You can breed for height. You can breed for intelligence. You can breed for stupid if you really want to, right? Obviously, this can.
She said she's met Chihuahuas, right?
There are many Chihuahuas that have been bred. There's many breeds of dogs that aren't bred for their intelligence. They're bred for looks. Look at the Golden Retriever. They are not very smart dogs.
They're pretty sweet most of the time, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not very smart. Some are, but
some can be.
Yeah.
There's always a rare one.
Not saying anything I'm going to be mad about, because these are all things I know. What I'm waiting for is her assessment afterwards, because again, what the one fact she hasn't stated yet is the overall population of pit bulls.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to, because that would change the dynamic, but
we'll see.
Oh, broke that. Come on.
And take place. You can breed for athleticism. We see examples of this all the time, but it's important to note that just because you are bred in one way or the other does not mean that you are locked into that permanent state, right? So right now, the most mathematically capable people in the world are Koreans. It doesn't mean that Koreans are forever going to be the most mathematically capable people in the world. We could start breeding Americans to be better at math. We could start doing...
Or we could just teach Americans better math. Just saying.
What they do over in Korea, or we could not, and we can remain probably the dumbest mathematical country in the world. So first and foremost, regarding the big question of whether or not we should ban pit bulls, it's important to note, because there's a lot of false arguments that are taking place. When people are talking about banning pit bulls, they're not talking about the authorities knocking on your door and taking your pit bull. Nobody's going to come for your pit bulls.
Wait, haven't they said that same thing about guns?
They have absolutely done it, though. There is, yes, they are talking about that. They absolutely have done it. There was a mass euthanasia issue happening in Canada, and I forget what city here in America, where if they're banned and your dog is found within the vicinity, you will either have to locate it outside of the town within a 3-day period, or they will your dog, okay? So that's incorrect, Candace. I like where you're going so far, because nothing you said is incorrect except for this. They will absolutely, if they ban your dog, they will absolutely euthanize, as they have done in the past. I've seen it.
Listening to this and you go, I have a pit bull. No one's trying to come take your pit bull. Your pit bull is safe. What they're talking about is stopping breeding, right? They no longer want pit bulls to be bred. They kind of just want them to just stop existing long term, but no one's going to come take them. And one thing that people who are very pro pit bull, and this is I would say, a pretty wild bunch, they are very passionate about their claims that pit bulls are kind animals. They always say it's just like the gun debate, right?
I mean, in many ways it is.
What you just said, but it's true. Yeah, fine. Thank you. Oh.
I mean, the number one issue with the debate is you're telling me what I can and can't have.
The thing is, to me, the only difference is it not being about the gun debate, because this isn't just you saying I can't have something. Like, I don't think you should have a fucking tiger or an African elephant either. What I'm saying is this is a living creature, and these are animals that, unlike the lion or the African elephant, we bred them.
Yes,
and it is proof
that.
Huh?
Yes, we created that.
We created that. And the thing is, you and I have spoken in the past. If I'm going to talk about a breed that we're going to ban from breeding the current practices that they're in, I would go for any of the brachycephalic dogs first. How about the ones that every single day they live is torture? Why don't we start there? Like, I get. Anyways, before I go on, because I don't know how she's going to say it, I don't want to jump the gun.
Off. Okay. All right. She's just going on forever. It's driving me crazy.
Right? It's just like it's up to the owner, and the owner makes the pit bull a maniac. Pit bull.
They do, but again,
they do. It's not itself a maniac. It's all about the owner. It's just like the guns. And I hate when I hear people say this. When people say it's the owner, not the pit bull, because I feel that those people fail at forming basic analogies. Because
I don't entirely disagree with her, because again, look at Orion. Orion is a very sweet dog. Orion, in the wrong hands, would have been a dangerous dog. And I do believe it's somewhat up to the owner, but at the same time, a good owner has to understand that if you have a dog that may be a sweet dog to you and behave like, again, have you seen any of my cats die, guys? No, because as long as I introduce them properly and I do everything right, Orion has zero problems with the cats. The problem lies is if you just toss them into the mix with zero training, with zero discipline, with zero structure, with a bad diet, yeah, then you're going to have a bad dog. And guess what? I bet Horror is going to answer this next part for me. Go ahead. I think you know where I'm going with this.
I have no idea.
That could be any fucking dog.
Oh, right. That I did know where she was going. I thought she was going somewhere else. Because that was my thought while she was talking, is that could be any dog. And I was also thinking, that could also literally be any cat. That can be any goddamn animal that you don't handle correctly, period, across the board.
Mm-hmm. You have to. And the thing is, so on the dog group that I'm in, when I say it's all in how they're raised, apparently nobody but me believes that also means discipline and training.
How's that not part of raising your animal?
It's part of raising anything, but apparently not when you're raising a dog. Because the thing is, if you're raising a dog, you have to raise a model member of their breed and society. That when you take, because 9 to the 10, if you own a dog, you're taking them out in public. If you're taking that animal out in public, guess what? You need to be able to control it. I know plenty of dog owners who can't, but it doesn't mean they're right.
Yeah, I take Sydney to work every day. Right now, I'm horrifically embarrassed because every time someone walks in the office, he jumps up on their knees. He may only get to 16 pounds, even though that is huge for his breed. But he still should not be jumping up on people's knees. It is not polite. It is not right. And unfortunately, because he is small and cute, people keep encouraging him, and I want to hurt them.
Yeah, that's what people do with Orion, because Orion may not be small and cute, but he is exuberant and cute. And hi, Grant Gregory. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Grant.
And the thing is, that's something where you just hit the nail on the head. This is where I don't normally feel it takes a village for the most part, because I think raise your own kids. Don't expect other people to pick up your slack. But if you're already doing the work and you tell people no, and they go, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Someone will walk in the office and Sid will start jumping on him. So I'll give his leash a tug and I'll say no. And it's fine. No, it's not fine, because I literally just told him no.
Right. No, you're literally, and the thing is, a dog understands that. You may not, a dog absolutely understands that, because they see that the other person is letting them get away with the behavior that you are not.
Mm-hmm.
And so my animals almost never touch anywhere near my food. And all I'm going to do, judge me all you want, is I snarl at them, especially Orion. I literally, and the thing is, here's what I will tell you guys. If you're ever yelling at your dog and he licks, or she, we're equal opportunity. If they start licking here or here, that's a very puppy thing. It is a submissive thing. What that comes from, it comes all the way back. I just want to say this because it's been happening so much with Orion lately when he tries to go for food. That goes all the way back to when they were wolves. Here's why. Wolves regurgitate food for the puppies. And so puppies who wanted to eat would walk up to the adult in the pack and lick the corner of their mouth to encourage them to regurgitate the food for the puppy to eat.
Yep.
As they get older, this is a signal that they are below you.
Mm-hmm.
They are beneath you, and they're trying to get your forgiveness. And so, whatchamacallit, Orion, when I snarl at him to get away from my food, do you know what he does? And I won't let him do it at first. I won't even let him be submissive. He'll lick right there, and I'll be like, bitch. It's fucking cute. But the thing is, again, just because you enjoy that moment of exuberance, and maybe you don't have a pet of your own, or maybe you're strict with your own pet, you're fine with someone else's pet doing it. Understand, every time you do that, you undermine what the owner is doing, because animals lack the critical thinking to understand this is just one person who's spoiling me. If you're not consistent, animals need straightforward rules. And if you are not straightforward across the board, the animal will start acting out because the rules are now changing.
Yep. And they will look for a moment to get away with anything.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. All right, let's do
Candace.
it's a long video, you're right.
Well, I think this part only goes to... Oh, this part goes all the way to here, but I'm sure she'll get to the point here eventually.
Well, hopefully.
Because obviously a gun cannot aim and fire and kill someone by itself. A pit bull can, in fact, aim and attack and kill someone all by itself, whether its owner is there or its owner is not. So please just stop making that ridiculous argument, because it's stupid.
Another thing I would like to point out really quick is that while, yes, the dog can aim and fire itself, a lot of times how you act is going to be what causes that.
Absolutely.
Your behavior in that situation is going to change the outcome, because dogs are bred to take signals from you.
Absolutely. And you know what? Someone just entered the chat. Who can everyone say hi to Janice? Everyone say
Janice.
Hi, Janice. Janice is the reason I'm married.
I'm sorry.
She's one of my oldest friends, and she has a little pack of her own.
Oh.
And Janice has learned the hard way about different breeds and what different dogs do. And her dogs are adorable. They're tiny and they're a mess. And I love it. But she works very hard to get them all being behaved little puppies. And when I was at her house in the summer for Gothix's wedding, I made damn sure that I tried to listen to everything she told me. Because when I left, those puppies had to listen to her again.
Oh, yeah.
Not me. So I made sure that whatever she said to do is what I did. And I told you I was working God bless her, Janice. Janice has been asking me all day, let's play games. And the problem is, as you all know, does Starson have time to do anything these days? I'm so tired. And thank you, Jan. And it's whatchamacallit. So far, I don't necessarily disagree.
No, but she hasn't really said anything yet either.
She's repeated a lot of facts.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the punchline, because the thing is, she is skirting the issue and she is being purposely vague.
She's dragging it out.
She is dragging it out. She's rimming us right now, guys. Okay,
and I'm not enjoying it. This is
not
what I like.
That's not the right one. It's not the right one. Anyway.
This is the wrong spot. You need to move on. So
that's the tank, bitch. No. All right.
All right.
What she has to say.
Okay. No matter how much I train a gun to kill, it cannot fire without me.
What about AI?
So where do I stand on all of this? Well, I'll tell you personally, I do not like being around pit bulls. My entire life, I have never felt comfortable around pit bulls, ever.
Okay.
Ever in the history, I have friends that have pit bulls. If they kill me, no. But pit bulls are an aggressive dog, right? And I get that my friends who have pit bulls, they love their pit bulls and they're sweet babies. But it's your sweet baby, okay? If the pit bull...
To be fair, this is about everybody's animal and your children. That's your sweet baby. I may not like it.
Feels threatened by me, I'm very aware that a pit bull will kill me. And I cannot, for that reason, comprehend the people that think it's acceptable to have pit bulls around.
Do you think she likes horses? Because those can kill you too.
And let me tell you something. Mares are far more dangerous than a stallion. Woo! So here's the thing. Any dog that is on your property that feels threatened can and will attack and or hurt.
Yep.
I will tell you that I don't. This is not the thing. Is like right now she's saying it's every pit bull. It's not the case, and that lacks facts. And I'm shocked because she stated so many facts up until now. But let's
consider the facts that would support the opinion I believe she's trying to get to.
They were kind of supporting both, but like that's it. She was purposely teetering.
But she was narrowing it, is what I felt like. So
around young children, how far are you willing to go to be contrarian? I don't understand.
What?
She made the distinction, young children. Okay, I agree that almost all dogs that are around young children should be monitored 24/7. There should.
Absolutely.
You and I have had this conversation before.
Yeah.
This sounds very much like nature versus nurture debate. I grew up with loving pitties. No, the loving Patty was your mom. Listen, get it right. And her mom's name is Patty. And whatchamacallit though, when it comes to pit bulls, look, there are dogs that have a higher prey drive than others. Greta gets along with everything. Orion does not. Now, I will say this is nurture. Greta has gotten slightly more aggressive in play since she's solely played with Orion.
Yep.
That's developed over time. She used to be unable to interact with anything. But I will say, to Candace's defense, I agree that if you are going to have small children, unless your pit bull is older, I don't agree having very excitable, any size dog around small children. I believe unless you get them as a puppy and you raise them alongside the child and you still monitor the shit out of them.
Even then, you should just never leave your children alone with animals. It doesn't matter if it's a cat or a dog or a fish.
Not until your child is old enough to... Your child has to be old enough and strong enough to, 1, walk the dog without getting dragged, 2, be able to command the dog and the dog listen, and 3, understand that it's a dog.
Yep.
So I usually gauge 10.
A lot of people haven't gotten to 3.
I'm safe. I feel fine leaving kids alone with an animal. For that, but continue.
All right. Yeah.
Understand why you would say, to prove a point, right, that pit bulls are really gentle and wonderful, I'm going to have them around my small children. Now, I'll give you an example of this. When I walk my son around the block, I am so aware. My biggest fear as a mother, I'm not even kidding, is when I walk my son is that a dog is going to get loose and is going to run up and is going to attack him while I'm pushing him. I think about this when I walk. I process. I know in my walk that I do every day what kind of dog lives on every piece of property. I'm like, and they're all different.
Huh? I was saying goodbye to Janice. She's she's going to bed. I love you, girl. I'm very proud of what you're doing, by the way. You know what I mean. But
different. Golden doodle. They're kind of sweet and a little dorky. I'm like, if this guy gets loose, I'm probably okay, right? You see the little...
No.
And that's going purely off of vision. And this is the problem. We have talked about golden doodles and how they have neurological issues, how they have aggression issues, how, like, we have spoken about this. They are just as much of a problem because on top of that, they typically have impacted fur, which makes their skin tighter, which makes them more prone to attack because they're constantly in pain.
Yep.
Little yapper ones. I'm like, if this guy gets loose, I'm going to kick him right in the jaw and he's going to go flying.
Yeah. And what she doesn't realize is he will grab her by the ankle while she's trying to kick him in the jaw. But that's a separate issue.
Big enough one with good enough teeth that's still going to fucking hurt. Could take out a toe or a leg.
Yep.
Right. I think about what I am going to do.
And none of those things, by the way, are the right things to do when a strange dog approaches you.
Ever. Like...
If these dogs get loose and there's just one pit bull on my walk, and he barks like a psychopath. Wait, it's an invisible fence. I don't even like invisible fences, okay? I like the real ones. If you're gonna get a fence, get a real one that I can actually see.
Agreed.
And he's just barking, and he's very aggressive when he barks. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, if this invisible fence was not here, I would kill you, Candace. And I'm thinking...
That's not necessarily what he's thinking, but okay.
We don't know that. Sometimes terriers bark.
Oh, yeah.
terriers bark for any reason. They bark. You got to look at the body language. You got to look at what he's doing. The thing is, if he wanted to kill you, that invisible fence would mean literally nothing.
Oh yeah, no, a dog will absolutely get through that if they are aggressive and looking to get through it. My dog accidentally got through on the wrong side. I had an invisible fence for a while. She got through on the wrong side. She panicked and ran herself back through to me. So invisible fences can be useful if you've trained your dog to obey it, but it is in no way an actual barrier to the animal.
No, it's definitely not infallible. I'll tell you right now, as someone who, there was a time when I not only had to take Orion and throw my entire weight onto him, I had the electric collar at 100 and he was not stopping. And that was a collar that went 0 to 100 in 1 point increments to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to him. So the thing is, electricity only works so long, but guess what? Just like with anything else, if our adrenaline's running high enough,
nothing.
What the heck is an invisible fence? Oh, are you ready for this? It is a network of metal circuits that you put into your yard to create a barrier, and then you put a collar on your dog, and if your dog leaves the barrier, it shocks him.
Well, if they get within, because what they do is they run a wire around your house and it's got an RF field. And if the dog gets within such of a distance of the RF field, it will shock the dog.
But here's the problem. Once they cross that field and they get past it,
they can't get back in.
They can not only just get back in, but they can also just keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, they're out of range. And if your dog is in a full-blown sprint, they're out of range within seconds.
Yep.
Okay, great, because just so you know, I'm going to try to kill you as well. My thought process is, how quickly can I shoot your pit bull in the chest? Because if it's a pit bull and it comes towards me and my child, I don't care if that's your baby, it's going to get shot. That's just the truth. I'm just.
You should be doing that for any large dog attacking your kid, but okay.
Including that golden doodle, Candace.
Especially that golden doodle.
Telling you where I stand on that. People like, oh, you don't know, it could be a gentle, not running toward my children. We're not going to find out. And I hope that you respect that. If you're a pit bull owner, please make sure that your pit bull stays on his property.
Candace, I need you to understand the difference between a dog charging at you and a dog running up to you and a dog walking up to you. Because what it sounds like is anytime a dog that you think is dangerous, regardless of if it is dangerous, you will shoot them. I think that is for your own benefit. And so you don't have a lawsuit on your hands at some point. You need to learn dog body language. If this is something you are that fearful of, you need to learn body language. All animals speak with body language, guys. I've said this before. If you are that afraid of a certain animal, take the few minutes it takes to look up a YouTube video and find out what its body language means. Most animals have similar body language. It's pretty universal. Pin straight ears, a straight back, wide eyes, and a straight out tail. Most animals are not happy when they see you with that. It's very alert. If their ears are pinned back, that's a pretty universal thing. They're not happy. Head down means they're about to charge.
Mm-hmm.
You can typically see the difference. I still don't entirely disagree with Candace. No. However, I will say what she's saying is misguided. You have to understand the differences. I'm not totally disagreeing with her. Yes, if my dog was going to attack her child, yes, defend your child. But what she lacks understanding is that invisible fence. If that dog is literally just barking at an invisible fence, what it's saying is a dog that barks is not wanting to kill you. A dog that barks what were you gonna say?
I was agreeing.
Oh, they tend to be insecure. That's a scared dog. That dog's like, hey, I don't know why you're here. I don't like you, and you got me a little nervous. So you know what? I'm gonna look big, and I'm gonna sound big, and I'm gonna scare you, and I'm gonna make a lot of noise. And oh, you're walking away. Oh, my loud noise is working, isn't it, bitch? That's what that dog is thinking. Yeah. That's why Chihuahuas don't stop yapping, because everything seems fucking huge to them.
And when everything's fucking huge to them.
Yeah. It sounds like my dog, right?
It can be the dog's just excited to see someone too. True. And it can be, oh, hey, a person, hey, person, pet me, person. And as you're walking away, they're just really sad that you're not listening to them. So they're just going to keep going.
Especially if Candace lives in the neighborhood that I believe she lives in, which, I mean, this bitch is a multimillionaire. She's more than likely living in a very expensive neighborhood, especially considering the threats on her life and everything. And if you're living in a neighborhood where someone has a pit bull out all the time on an invisible fence, maybe you should call the dog cops on that person, because that's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
But what do I know? I'm just a crazy pit bull owner.
I think are we getting towards the end, or is that just her ugly dress? Oh, God.
Because I'm not the kind of parent that is going to try to figure out whether or not you have bred your pit bull to be a really kind creature. I don't want it running near my children at all. As a rule, all dogs, by the way. Keep your dogs on your properties. I see dogs getting loose all the time, and I think this is so remarkably irresponsible. And, of course, this is an animal, and this animal...
I will say you should keep your child on your property, too, but that's a separate thing.
Usually has capability, unless it's really small, to kill a human. Now, do I believe the people who are pit bull owners that say that I raised my pit bull since it was born? Do I believe that they are telling the truth when they say that their pit bull would never attack them? Yes, I do believe that your pit bull will not attack you. But I do also know that a pit bull is an animal. And I believe that if a pit bull perceives a threat, whether that threat is real or imagined, they will be overtaken by their animal instinct. And a pit bull's animal instinct tells them to obliterate, to annihilate the threat until the very end. Now, I said something very important there. I said whether that threat is real or imagined. Because on the topic of children, a pit bull can very much be imagining a threat. All animals can be imagining a threat. I think about when I had a cat, and I loved my cat. I had my cat before I had my child. My son, when he was 4 months old, was just playing with her and went to grab her face because he loved her. And my cat swatted at my son. Why did she do that? Well, because she had obviously perceived...
Because you're an idiot and you let your cat play with you let your kid play with this cat before he was capable of actually handling it. That's why.
As a cat owner, now what I'm waiting for is see if she got rid of the cat because of this.
Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm sounding like she did.
It's sounding like she did, but I'll see, because so far this is surprising me, because typically Candace is much more vicious and volatile about these things, and much less sensical when it comes to a more opinion idea. She's being extremely analytical and, for the most part, accurate. I haven't really disagreed with much of what she said.
I just don't like how she says it. But
that's the framework. I agree. The framework is a little iffy, but I want to see. So her cat got killed. James is apparently a Candace simp.
Oh.
So, but let's hear what she has to say. Now that I know she didn't get rid of the cat.
Did it get killed because she put it outside forever instead of letting it in the house? Ooh. That's also not good.
Perceived an imagined threat. It wasn't because I was raising her to be a killer cat. It's because she is a cat. She is an animal. And the animal just got swapped in the face. And yes, it's by a little 4-month-old baby, but she doesn't comprehend that. Similarly, I went to a friend's house who has 2 pit bulls. She also has a 5-month-old child, about 5 or 6-month-old child, and she has an almost 2-year-old. And I went to her house. She has 2 pit bulls. And the entire time that I was holding her baby, the pit bull was sitting in front of me growling, just growling. Like actually, I felt that it was going to bite my face off. And she kept telling the pit bull, calm, it's okay, it's okay. And she said,
That's resource guarding. That is wrong on the owner.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because the dog is waiting for you to hurt the child so that the dog can hurt you. Because the dog perceives the child as his. And you've taken it from him.
Yep.
That is still wrong on that Candace's friend, but
she should have removed the dog entirely from the situation, not just sat there and let it growl. I mean, that's ridiculous. For one, you're making your guest uncomfortable. For two, you're teaching your dog it's okay to sit there and growl at people.
Just saying calm doesn't work. You have to, with Orion. So when Orion is over exuberant, do you guys know what I do? May not like it. I stand up, I grab him by the throat, right around here, and I push him. Not push him. I push him till he is on the ground.
Yep.
And he has to sit there by my feet and wait till I say okay. Does he always hold okay for long enough?
No.
But I make him sit there and wait because now he has understood that I have put him in his place as a dog where he belongs. And as another dog, because that's what he sees us as, I've told him he did wrong. Now, might he turn right back around and still do the same stupid thing?
Probably.
Potentially. But I've told him, and he knows, when I say his name a certain way, Orion fucking drops to the ground. Because he already knows he's done fucked up.
Yep.
I imagine, Horror, you got the same thing with your dogs.
Oh, Rudy, I say his name just right. He sits, he puts his ass on the ground, he turns around, and he smiles and starts biting the air. Because he knows I'm pissed at him. And he knows he's in trouble, and he done fucked up. Don't eat me, Mommy.
I didn't do nothing. God, little hams.
They are seriously just absolutely ridiculous.
I'm curious what this.
Sorry, the pit bull thinks that it's her baby. Okay, I get that. I guess I feel mildly comfortable enough because you're sitting here, right? But I was very conscious of how I was holding the baby, make sure I didn't move too quickly because I didn't want the pit bull to wrongly perceive that I was threatening the child.
She's right.
Instantly in my head, I said, my son is not allowed to be here. Imagine what this pit bull would do, right? What this pit bull would do if my toddler son was playing with her toddler son and maybe hit him, as toddlers tend to do. They hit each other, right? They're learning. They're still learning how to.
I will say that probably wouldn't provoke much because they do understand children.
To an extent, some pit bulls do. And on top of that, if the pit bull already acknowledges the other baby as a child, it's going to see your baby as now. Here's the kicker, though. If Candace had to step in as a mother to
then
her
you could
child,
have a problem.
now that's where the pit bull might do something. But this is where, guys, you should never encourage resource guarding in any of your pets. I've done enough rescue. I've had enough animals to see that it can happen in almost any animal. That's actually why they tell you not to put all litter boxes in one room when you have multiple cats, because and not to have a small door to get to them, because cats will resource guard the litter box and they'll attack the other cats going to it. Why? Because pooping is the most vulnerable time for an animal. It's the same thing why if you have food, you should, and we discussed this I think last week.
Yep.
You should be able to reach and grab your dog's food. Why? Because your dog might be choking. Your dog might ingest something they're not supposed to. And when you allow resource guarding, you allow that animal to then decide what it can take ownership of. And that's a very dangerous precedent for an animal to have. Never let it think it takes ownership of anything that you're doing.
Everything is yours, and what it has because you let it.
Exactly. You hold the food, you hold the toys, you hold the treats, you hold when they go for a walk, you hold when they get to go to the bathroom, especially with dogs. Especially. Cats, obviously, you're running a little bit different there. They're very independent animals. But this is, again, it's crazy how I keep saying I don't necessarily disagree with her. It's her delivery, like you said.
Yeah.
And a couple of anecdotal bits that are just...
Well, she's going the hyperbolic route because she is obviously afraid of these creatures without... Right. I mean, it's stark contrast to the analytics where, she just falls into this, I'm afraid because I don't understand, but I've done all this research, but I'm still not going to understand kind of thing.
But here's the thing. What's crazy is that she understands the perceived threat.
Yeah.
She understood from her cat. She understood that perfectly. But she doesn't take that same empathy towards the pit bull.
Yep.
But then she does broad spectrum on the dogs, which I do appreciate. I don't want any dog charging me. I'm specifically afraid of pit bulls, but it's any dog. So she does make that distinction. So I feel it's like in her heart of hearts, she really doesn't want pit bulls to be
I'm going to say she doesn't think they should be banned, but I'm going to say she doesn't like them. I don't know, but let's find out eventually.
To be human beings. Would the pit bull drag and annihilate my toddler kid to protect what it perceives to be its toddler kid? Maybe, maybe not. I can tell you that my child won't be there to find out. And this is why I think it is always such cowardice when people blame the owners, because the dogs I have been made to feel uncomfortable.
Cowardice when people blame the owner? What?
No, I always blame the owners, because at the end of the day, that dog is there. Here's the problem, and this is the thing. It is always the person's fault.
Yeah.
There is never a time it's the animal's fault, and here's why. That animal is being an animal. The person is the reason that animal is there. The person is the reason that animal exists, and that person is the reason that dog is resource guarding. A good owner would not allow that. Would not allow your dog to make someone uncomfortable. This isn't like your dog is walking up and licking somebody or trying to cuddle them, which even then you should not let your dog do if it makes somebody uncomfortable. Orion loves to lick people. People don't like that. And I've had Orion for 5 years now, so I actually kind of forget that. So sometimes when people are like, oh God, he licked me. And there's only 2 people I allow it to happen to, and I know they don't like it because I like torturing them. That was Brandon, and it's Matt, my husband's best friend Ray. He goes, oh, but Ray also farts in the middle of my living room and laughs about it. So you get licked.
It's a fair trade.
Animal's gonna animal. People can just be stupid. Aren't the owners entirely responsible? They're the ones who raise it.
I will say there are situations in which it might be the owner's fault for the animal being there, but there are definitely situations in which it is the person who gets attacked fault for doing something that very obviously is going to cause that dog to attack them.
Oh yes, it's always. That's why I said the human's fault. It is always a human's fault because, like someone. You said,
oh God damn it! I keep doing that. One second.
It's a fair trade of fart.
People around have wonderful owners, right? They're not thugs, they're not criminals, they're not raising the dog to bite others. They're not training the pit bulls to harm people. They're just severely underestimating what their pit bull may or may not perceive to be a threat and how their pit bull is going to rise to meet that threat. That certainly seems to have been the case when it came to Kirsty and Colby Bernard. Remember this story? Back in October of last year. More than 8 years ago, they purchased 2 pit bulls, Cheech and Mia. 6 years later, they had their first child, a little girl named Lily Jane. Then 2 years after that, they had a second child, a boy named Hollis Dean. It's probably fair to assume that they loved and they trusted their pit bulls. They had them for 8 years, and they could have never predicted that just a few short months later, Cheech and Mia were going to kill both of their children. For 10 minutes, the pit bulls, who they had loved and raised for 8 years, mauled their 2-year-old and their 5-month-old to death. Now you're probably thinking, well, what happened to cause the pit bulls to react that way? It's not clear. It hasn't yet been reported. So I'll ask you the question, what could...
I don't wonder what happened. It's a child. They're 2 small children. I know exactly what happened. My question is, why did the parents leave the children, 2 small children, alone with their dogs? It's their fault.
Mm-hmm. And even if they weren't alone with the dogs, I don't know if the parents were, for example, maybe in the room at the time. Why would they letting their children interact with the dog?
But my thing is this: if you're gonna have small infants around these dogs, and there's a lot of questions: were these dogs intact? Was there a dog in heat?
Mm-hmm.
Were these dogs, they may have purchased them. Did they purchase them as puppies? Were these were these backyard bred dogs? That makes a big difference.
Oh God, yeah.
You've talked about this before. If these dogs had neurological issues, if they were inbred, which leads to higher aggression because they have less cognitive abilities. There is a lot of nuance in that. But at the end of the day, these are 2 people who didn't take their due diligence to ensure that their small children were not left alone with the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what she has to say.
could a 2-year-old possibly do to make a pit bull perceive a threat that was so real that it had to kill a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old? Probably just acted like a 2-year-old. Maybe it hit the pit bull in the face. Maybe it pulled the pit bull when it was having a bad day by the tail. Maybe it went near the pit bull's food and the pit bull felt threatened. It's a devastating story.
I'm gonna be honest, everything I heard is parents raising their kids poorly.
I heard not training the dog right.
That too.
Not creating proper boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Not making sure the children stayed away from the dog. Because again, there is no time where it is appropriate for your child to lay their hands on your dog.
Nope.
And not because the thing is, I don't believe a child should be taught that it's okay. Like, I even believe with breastfeeding, you should not allow your child to gnaw on your nipple. And when I see it, there are ways you can tell your child, no, this is not okay, because it does encourage them to believe they can lay their hands on anything without consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts from infancy. Janice was just in this chat earlier. I had her child at 6 months old trained to not touch the tail and whiskers or belly of my cats. She learned, and this was one of them. See this tail? Zorro, especially in his youth, had zero problems spinning around and clawing you wherever you were. If I make the kissy noise, this in his ear, he will happily bite my face. He has zero qualms. So I had Autumn trained, 6 months old. No, no, no. No touch.
Yep.
No, no, no. No touch. You do nice. So we taught, do nice. Gentle, do nice. And she learned. She cornered one cat, got clawed, and Janice obviously was a young mom. She got upset. I said, why was she in my parents' room?
Mm-hmm.
You. She got up on Johnny's face. Flicked that child for... You think I wouldn't? Right. Don't test me, James. I'll tell you what. I would have right here at the corner of the mouth, because the kid's gonna learn.
It's funny because I bit my mom once, and after that, she weaned me off the breast. So
there you go. I had a friend whose nipples split in half, like slice.
No.
Nope.
Yep.
I'm not about letting kids abuse their parents, and I'm not about letting kids abuse anything else. And I'm not about letting a dog resource guard. If you have little kids, you especially should not allow your dog to be a resource guard dog.
Mm-hmm.
My cat is usually sweet, but if a toddler came up and pulled her hair or whiskers or tried to grab her, I have no doubt she'd rip the kid to shreds. Doesn't make her bad. Exactly. Because what did David say earlier that she's conveniently forgetting now? This is an animal. She's going to act and treat you like an animal.
Yep.
That's equality, baby cakes.
Report on it. I didn't even speak about it back when it happened last October, when people were heavily debating pit bulls, because I felt so bad for the parents. I can't even imagine. They were probably the kind of parents that weighed in during pit bull events and pit bull debates and said, pit bulls are not like that. We have 2 sweet girls that we've had for 8 years. We have 2 children. Nothing's ever go wrong. Yeah, nothing ever goes wrong until it does. That is the point. Nothing ever goes wrong until it does.
But you can say that about anything. Literally, I just talked about that earlier with Sydney in the parking lot. I'm 41 years old, and I have never had a problem with my dogs doing that kind of thing. And today it happened, and I swear I nearly died there on the spot. So, yeah. Hey, Vex.
Hi, Vex.
So I find this debate to be very bizarre. I find it weird that you have humans that are trying to convince you that animals are not animals. I find it weird, as if we don't all know.
Who's trying to convince her that they're not animals?
The problem is that she's screwing up her own line of logic. She really is. Because no one's denying that they're animals, but what is being denied is responsibility. The child is there because of you.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is there because of you. Which means you are the one responsible for both of their existences. You are the one responsible for both of them being model members of society. So if your pit bull is acting out of line, it is your fault. I regularly babysit 2 autistic children. Okay? I have and one of them, Sammy, he's a wonderful little boy, stubborn as a mule and does not want to listen. So Sammy doesn't get to play when Orion is out of the crate because Sammy doesn't like when Orion walks up to him, but then he'll pick up a toy and try to lure Orion over. I tell Sammy, don't pick up that toy. Sammy then will wave it, and Orion, who outweighs him by triple, will topple the kid over. And then Sammy, he'll wait till my back is turned. So now Sammy has to sit on a chair whenever he's with me. Too bad, kid. You don't like it. Too bad. So sad. Thank you for playing. You need to sit there and wait because the problem is Orion is used to playing with adults.
Yep.
So Orion will jump for the toy like he has always. And so when Sammy gets trampled by the 110-pound pit bull and he cries, he's not allowed to cry. No, you suck it up. And he does stop because guess what? It's crocodile tears. But you have to be responsible, guys. That's why the kids, I taught them extremely quickly. You need to sit down while the dogs are out. There is no jumping around and running back and forth. You want to do that? You can go outside in the front yard. You can have a blast. Uncle Matt will go out with you. You guys can go play. No problem. You want to do that in the house? No. You get to watch Disney and sing. You get to play on your tablet. You can play on anything. You can do your homework. You cannot dance and run around in the house. I have no room for you to do it. And I will not have you getting beaten up by the dog because you're not going to listen. And they don't like it because in their own house, they're allowed to run around. Well, guess what? That's at your own house. While you are here, I will not be the old fat white lady that 2 little black kids died of in her house because her will mauled them. It ain't fucking happening.
That reminds me, when I was watching my friend's kid, she wanted to do something. She wanted to play with her. I would think she wanted to jump rope in the house. And I'm like, no, you can't do that in the house. What are you talking about? And I don't even care that it was her house. You can, well, my mama lets me. Am I your mama?
Right?
No. All right then. we've passed that hurdle.
Problem. And that's the thing. Oh, guys, we're gonna be. I was gonna end at 11:34, but we're still watching this. So by midnight we should be done's-go.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah,
only a little bit left.
Gets to the point.
So, assuming we stop interrupting her, but we have to. I mean, otherwise we might get
Yeah, we might get struck.
This is transformative content, people.
Yeah, YouTube.
But there are certain breeds that are friendlier than others. We know this. We know that golden retrievers are friendlier and more family friendly than a Chihuahua.
Excuse you?
This is just common sense.
Untrained golden retriever is just as vicious, bitch.
No, they're not. What they're okay.
Guess what, guys? Do you know what I've been attacked by in my own backyard when I was a little kid? It was a golden retriever. I've met meaner golden retrievers than mean pit bulls. I digress. Let's hear.
All right.
So when did it become normal for people to pretend that you could breed an animal out of an animal? That's not.
I mean,
you can't breed it.
People forget that their dogs are dogs all the time. It's not just a pit bull thing. It's an all breeds thing. It's an all animal thing. People that have this really weird thing where they think that's not an animal. That's their baby. No, that's a fucking dog, you moron.
May be my baby, but it's still a baby dog.
It is a baby dog.
And here's the thing, guys. She just got through earlier saying that some animals are bred to be tall. Some animals are bred for certain dispositions. Guess what? They bred the wolf out of dogs. They can breed aggression out of dogs, or at least minimize it. All dogs are born with prey drive and some form of aggression.
Yep.
Some have more, some have less. But what counts is how you assess it and how well you train your animal. This is the problem. Again, what bothers me is Candace is like dancing around the truth. She's sprinkling lots of facts in and then going, by the way, this is what I believe. And it's just ridiculous because it's I get her fear. A lot of black people actually fear pit bulls. A lot of them. A lot of black people fear dogs. And I'm not trying to be racist when I say this. I have seen ample videos and ample evidence in my own life. Remember, do you guys remember a couple weeks ago I was talking about Orion sitting in a tire place with me, minding his own business, and full-grown men walked in and ran out screaming because they saw him? Every single one was black. We are talking at least 6 foot tall, muscular dudes, young, fit, and going ah! And running out the door because they saw a pit bull. And so I hear it a lot, and I understand why. Because a lot of dog fighting rings tend to happen in lower income areas. And dogs that are more vicious tend to get away, attack neighborhood kids. But we have to stop playing into certain things. We've repeated this ad nauseum now. All dogs can attack. And if you have a dog that has high prey drive or has high dog aggression, then it is up to you to do one of two things. Actually, one of three. One, you properly and fully train your dog. To Stars on channeling her Tiny Tim, right? You properly and fully train your dog. 2, you never leave your dog or let your dog out of your sight. You keep them at home at all times and you never take them out. Or 3, you give them to someone who knows what they're doing and you get a different dog.
Yep.
Those are your options. There is no other one. Does it suck that you might have to get rid of your dog? Yes, but there are professionals for dogs like this. And I know from experience, personal experience of friends adopting and buying puppies, that I looked at them and said, you can't handle this dog. This dog is going to be aggressive. You don't have the proper know-how or structure or consistency to get this aggression out of this dog. Guess what, guys? I was right. And it's... I have 2 pit bulls and they wouldn't hurt a soul. In fact, my dogs are too pussy too. I have a story from experience. And Esteban, that's the thing. She even said it earlier and now she's kind of going back on it.
Mm-hmm.
There are no 2 dogs alike. And the thing is, some dogs are for it, some dogs are not. She sat there and said roughly 287 deaths a year happen from pit bulls. We did the numbers. That is 0.007% of the entire pit bull population.
And actually smaller.
Roughly. So it's definitely less than 1%. It's less than 1% of the 1% of the 1%. But they are the most televised. Why? Because it sells.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs are not good pets for a lot of people, especially people that don't do their research or don't have a lifestyle that matches what the animal needs or the money. All right, let's see. Let's see her closing.
All right, she's almost done.
Possible. So please, like I said, stop saying it. My stance is that I don't want your pit bull. I don't want the cops and the authorities to come take your pit bull, but I certainly don't want your pit bull around me and my children. And that's all I have to say about that. Thomas Sowell.
Okay.
So she didn't give an opinion.
No, she said she doesn't want her kid. I'm going to assume, because God knows I don't want to listen to her anymore, that she's saying that she doesn't think they should be banned, but she doesn't want them around her family.
It was a nice way to say it without saying it, so that way nobody can quote her unless she wants to change her opinion later. But I will at least say that at least she doesn't want to ban them. I'm happy about that. But I don't like you said, you were spot on from get-go. It sounded like she was going to frame it in still somehow a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my thing. This is where I know it's tone deaf, but I really do feel this way. I feel the pit bull conversation is really relative to the racism conversation. Because you can literally line up the information side by side. Statistically, who causes the most violence? Statistically, who does this? Okay, so does that mean now that we should ban certain ethnicities from certain cities?
I've literally, I'm not gonna lie, I've literally had that kind of conversation with an actual racist. I mean, this is when I was on Gab, and an unabashed, straight up, they should all go back to Africa kind of person with the same exact talking points against pit bulls as they had against other races. I mean, almost literally lockstep, word for word.
It's just crazy to me. It's like, I don't deny that there are aggression issues that happen within pit bulls. I've said it point blank. I have agreed on that. However, that being said, it doesn't mean that all pit bulls are bad and that all pit bulls should be banned. Never heard that comparison before. I have actually heard it numerous times, but usually it's only in the pit bull circles. Mm-hmm. And usually we get shut down because a lot of people are like, are you comparing black people to dogs? And I'm like, technically no. But what I am saying is, if you're going to sit there and say that 60% of the population causing more than 60% of the homicides and crimes and everything, it doesn't mean that there's an inherently bad thing. Then you also have to understand that less than 0.007% of a population does not connotate that it's a vicious dog as a breed.
Mm-hmm.
We've had this conversation before.
Yep.
Because the thing is, just like Mrs. Hara having an intellectual discussion with a real life Uncle Ruckus.
To be fair, that person was white, not black. So,
pit bulls being banned. Pit bulls are very often sweet unless they are raised to be aggressive or they are abused. A very true, Just Cat. But there's also other nuance in that. Are they inbred? Are they? Any dog can turn aggressive when their entire life is turned upside down. And this is something that a lot of people, including me, forget sometimes. So, for instance, I am almost never home these days. Because I have to really help my friend with her restaurant. The restaurant I work for, I went from being just a glorified dish hopper and semi-cook to now I am the manager of the restaurant within a few days because she trusts me and da-da-da-da-da. And I am actually really good at bossing people around.
Shocker.
Shocker. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if anyone knows, but well, actually, no. I'll tell you later. I don't know if he wants to say anything yet. Okay. But let's just say someone in the community now works with me too.
Ooh.
But I'll wait to talk to him about it.
Congratulations.
So the thing is, I'm never home. The animals, including the dogs, are very crated now all the time. They don't see me. Well, what has coincided with me suddenly be gone all the time? I'm now never allowed to sit without him. He does not let me leave his sight for more than a few. Anytime I lay flat, he's there. Anytime I sit down, he is there. I am not allowed a moment peace. And I may get annoyed because it hurts my shoulder or anything, but I have to remember that while I have this and I have work and a husband, and a dad, and a brother, and friends, and hobbies, Zorro has me.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. Zorro has me, and he has this household. And Zorro is old. He has lived his entire life, and he doesn't know anything different. And especially the last 2 years, they got extremely adapted to me being home all the time. And now I'm going back to being gone for a fair portion of the day. And they're alone with just the TV. They don't like it. And so I have to remember, and I have to have some perspective that there's a reason that Orion acts up more, that Greta brings me more toys, that Zorro won't leave me alone. All of them will. If I stop anywhere in the house, I get Hendrix, Axel, Zorro. I get Arya crawling over me now. I definitely can't poop in peace anymore. And, it's just, you have to remember that an animal's entire life is whatever you do for them. There is nothing else. Don't believe these stupid movies where they show you the real life of pets. It doesn't really fucking exist. Once you leave, do yourself a favor. Set up a camera. Watch your animal when you leave, especially if you have just one animal. they will sit there all day, possibly crying, but staring at that door. Right. Sleeping, crying, and not much else, waiting for you. You're all they have. And so a lot of times you can trace back these pit bull things to the dog suddenly had a drastic change. The dog suddenly got a lot of shots done. Their food might have changed. You don't think anything of it, but especially if you feed your dog the same fucking food every day for 5 years, and out of nowhere, you change the food.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal to them. They're simple animals, and they have simple rules, and you just broke one of them.
Mm-hmm. You've uprooted their life, turned the world upside down, and they have no idea what's going on now. What might change next?
And that's the thing. So a lot of times dogs and cats or any other animal that feels like their world's been turned upside down, sometimes they lash out because they don't understand where the threat is coming from. The threat is invisible. And so they're going to attack whatever they perceive as a threat. That's just the way it is. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Oh, yeah. I'm well aware. You can move a chair across the room and they'll freak out.
Oh, my God. Rearrange the furniture. Watch your dog go crazy.
Oh, my God, yeah.
There was a video I saw, and now I'm afraid to share because I think it has licensed music in it, but it was like, run into a clear glass door once and you have internal trust issues.
Yeah.
It's this golden retriever. And he's sitting there, he's going. And then he's like, slowly walks in. Thank you for the punishing. Glad you. Thank you, James. I mean, I like that she filled it with a lot of facts and a lot of actual, history of the pit bull. She didn't include the nanny dog bullshit. And she wasn't wrong in most of her assessment. It's just there was some of it where it was completely ignorant stuff and it was anecdotal at best.
It was all basically, as she said, her opinion, and a lot of in those parts I kind of felt like the world would have been just fine without.
Yeah, because the thing is, Candace has a lot of influence, and people sitting there saying, well, Candace is afraid of pit bulls. Me too. Oh, I'm just like Candace. All sorts of shit. What?
Excuse me.
Oh no, I've got it.
It doesn't help that it's the time change too.
Oh my God. So Sunday we didn't see a lot of customers and we were all upset, and I was like, guys, they're probably still asleep. Like
right.
I was just like, yeah, they're still passed out, guys. And then on top of that, it was raining, and it's like we're getting a sudden freeze out of nowhere here in North Carolina. And I'm happy, but it's with rain, so yeah. What Candace was saying was okay. She said she was letting her internal fears take the lead instead. Yeah, like the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay. Like I'm like, hey, there it is. Like she was just like, she was inserting way too much. She was humanizing them. She was anthropomorphizing a lot of what their assumptions were. And she was oversimplifying certain things to where it's either this or that.
Like it became so much just about her personal fear, which, I mean, she was giving us her personal opinion. So that's going to be in there.
Right. And she did give a really, compelling story about that pit bull that was growling at her. Totally get that. Totally fine. If I was at even me with my love of animals, if I was sitting and the dog was growling, I'd be like, we need to fix this now.
Yeah, no, I'd be giving your kid back.
Right. Like, here, take your kid. And also we need to identify why you're letting your dog growl at people like that. And I see, this is my toxic trait, guys. So as a matter of fact, on, I don't know if you know this. There was one time on the midweek hump, I was watching, it was X-Ray Girl and I guess her husband.
Oh yeah, with
their two dogs. They don't know how to raise dogs. If you're watching this, sorry guys, you don't know how to raise your dogs. They were encouraging such shitty behavior with these dogs. And you could see it happening in real time. Like every time the dog was attacking, he was picking it up and soothing it. I'm trying in the comments, and I don't know what it was. My comments were not showing up at all. And I was like, yeah, you're the reason your dog is doing that, sir.
Yeah.
Like you are 100% the reason your dog is doing that. And great people, loving people, their dogs will always be aggressive if they keep that up. And I remember, and I don't know if they just were ignoring it, but I was like, listen, you got to stop. You got to put him down. Like, honestly, guys, fun fact, if you're on the couch with your dog and your dog, like, let's say Horror is sitting on the couch.
I can actually
go ahead.
I have this example. I will be sitting in my recliner and Rudy will sit on the end of my recliner. One of the other dogs will try to jump up on my recliner and he'll start growling at them and I'll kick him off. Because I am not a resource to be guarded. My space is my space. I don't care if you guys play over there. When you are on me, we are quiet, we are still, and we are not fighting. Except for I let the puppy chew his mom's ear. But
here's the thing: you're Switzerland. Everyone, you belong to everyone. Everyone belongs to you. So they all get their fair share. Like Zorro, he doesn't like when I pick up another cat. Too bad. If he attacks anyone while he's on me, guess what? He gets put down.
Yep.
No one gets getting. And Horror, why do you drop them though? What does that tell them?
That tells them that that's my fucking space.
We don't like what you're doing. This is my space, and if you're gonna enter my space,
then
you're gonna do my rules, or you're gonna skedaddle.
I mean, it's still my space over there, but this is my space. This is the space in which, I mean, you can go over there and you can play and you can growl or whatever, but this is me. You do not own me. I own you.
Exactly.
So fuck off.
And this is a problem, guys, because if you'll notice, and so by the way, fun fact, she said how little dogs never kill, and dachshunds have mauled and killed babies.
Dachshunds are evil. I don't care what anybody says.
Chihuahuas too. Ferrets have mauled and killed babies, so it's like, okay, whatever. But
cats lay on babies and kill them all the time, so
it happens all the time because they smell the milk on the baby's breast and they want to lick it.
Well, even more, they're warm. They just want to lay on the warm little chest. And
exactly, it's true, but they don't understand. And see, here is the thing: when your animal is freaking out, like how Candace was talking about that pit bull growling, and she's going, calm, but she hasn't taught the dog what fucking calm means. Here's the problem: what you're doing is you're giving that dog attention.
Yep.
You are reinforcing the shitty behavior. And this is the thing: when you are sitting there and your dog is screaming and yelling, and you're going, shh,
oh, it's okay.
Guess what you're doing? You're saying, oh, look at all this attention I'm giving you. Yes. Bite and scream and yell again. Good dog. That's what you're telling them. And guess what? Works the same way with a cat. Because the thing is, when you condition your animal to believe that hugs and kisses and pets are positive, the dog doesn't know the difference when you're hugging and touching them when they're upset. So all they understand is that they're doing something you like. I mean, they're still staying in your space. And what did I say earlier about the dog barking? She's walking away, so the dog says, wow, my barking is working. So Candace walks by and guarantee glares that dog down, which, by the way, is a sign of aggression.
Worst thing to do.
So she's sitting there going to the dog, and the dog's like, yeah. And what does she do every time? She walks away, probably quicker. So she's reinforcing that dog's barking behavior. There's a really good chance that dog only barks when she walks by. But here's the thing, that just clicked in my head. And the thing is, you do the exact same thing when you back away from a dog that's barking at you while someone's holding it. I have actually gotten in real time. I met this Chihuahua. I know, Chihuahua. There was a Chihuahua and a Yorkie in a carriage at PetSmart, and the lady's like, oh, you might not want to come over. They don't like when people walk over to them. So what did I do? I walked right over. I was like, do you want it to stop? They said, what? I said, do you want it to stop? He said, yes. Well, as soon as I got closer, the dog started barking and hands started coming on the dog. I said, no, don't touch him. And they said, what? I said, do not touch your dogs. I kept moving closer. Now, did I touch the dogs? No, I'm not stupid. But I got right up in their space, and I sat there, and the dogs stopped barking. And they were like, how did you do that? I was like, because I just told them that their little warning is not working with me, and you didn't reinforce that it was working, so everything stopped.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. And this does apply to kids too. You are right. The thing that a lot of parents don't like to hear, and I know I've got some parents in the chat, your child is no different than a dog until they're about 5 years old.
It's true.
Of ways. They have because the thing is, children are much more connected to their natural instincts and their natural choices than adults ever are. And so a lot of their learning processes, with the exception of highly intelligent children, are going to be the same way. Now, does that mean keep the level down low? No, keep raising it, because kids are more intelligent than dogs at the end of the day. They have more capacity to learn. And as they get older, and if you push them more, their brains can get bigger. I know, because again, I tested this with my nieces and nephews. I did it.
She ran tests on her nieces and nephews. You heard that, guys.
I'm an experimenter. And the thing is, every time somebody told me a kid wouldn't do something, I said, just leave him with me.
Mm-hmm.
She's never going to let you brush her hair. Brushed her every time I had her. He's never going to eat green beans. He ate every vegetable I put in front of him. Just took some time.
Yep.
It all depends. Oh, my kids never get along. Oh, they're not going to do this. Oh, they're not going to do that. Yes, they fucking will.
Or it's all about, it's not even about intelligence. It's about consistency. And
that's my point. If you raise the standards, like with dogs, there's a cap. You have to cap it. But with kids,
you keep going.
You can keep going. And the thing is, I always raise my standards with the kids whenever I have them. Because the thing is, they are capable. That's the only difference. If you keep raising the standards, the kids will outpace the dog within a year. But it's if you're talking about a 6-month-old child or a 6-month-old puppy, you're not that far off in what they're going to catch on to. Mm-hmm. And until that kid is about 5 years, and what did Just Cat say? I can confirm with my son. Mm-hmm. I don't mean this to say that children are the same as dogs in every other aspect. They can obviously understand and communicate with you better. But what I am saying is, you have to understand that it's interchangeable. It just is.
It's the same behavior. Some things are universal. And in this case, raising a child or a dog with consistent, clear standards that you stick to is good for not just you, but for them and for everybody around you.
Consistency is key. If you want to learn how to do better at your job, do you change what you're doing every single time and fuck up and go, oh, more, or are you consistent? Mm-hmm. If you want to learn a new hobby or career, do you keep fucking everything up, or are you consistently working on it?
Or do you want to lose weight? Do you consistently work out, or you just do it occasionally? It's in everything.
Hey, that's consistent. No.
Well, that's if you want to gain weight, but that's a separate issue.
Listen, this is the point, guys. This is the point. And this is a good way to round out, because we're just hitting midnight now. I think it's a really good way to round it out.
Yeah,
good note to leave on. And a really good, I thank James for bringing up that video. I think it did give good conversation, because
it was good.
I am surprised at what Candace said. I expected her to be far more volatile and cruel about it. However, she tripped. Yeah, there's a lot and I wish I had a bigger following. So if I did a reaction video where I say all those things, she'd actually see it. But for numerous reasons, she would probably never see this unless we tag her in it. Ooh.
God.
You're like, don't do it.
I can 2 white girls tell black women not to be afraid of dog.
Yeah, but it's Candace. She's not black, remember? Oh.
She would be in this situation, just because we are so white.
the wolves would then be like, oh, even her. Because the thing is, this is a matter of Candace is showcasing her fear. Mm-hmm. I am terrified of spiders. Mm-hmm. I don't stick my hand into a spider's cage and when it bites me, be like, see?
Oh my God.
It bit me because they're naturally aggressive. Not that I put my hand and it's a large spider-shaped item in front of a creature that is scared half the time it's existing. That had nothing to do with it. It's all because, they just vicious and looking for anyone to attack. Right there.
Yep.
Just use your logic, people. Use your logic. Don't get an animal you can't handle, and if you do have an animal you can't handle, then please be fucking responsible and raise it properly, train it properly, and please, I'm so tired of people allowing resource guarding.
And more importantly, if you run into a dog in the wild, don't run from it.
Stand your ground and don't stare at it.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, sometimes the best thing to do is to make yourself lower with your head tilted away, like you're showing. It depends on the dog, obviously.
Yeah.
But turning around and showing your butt is one of the best things you can do. Now, I don't mean pull your pants down. But letting the dog see your butt, because you are already putting yourself in a vulnerable position, and the dog can then safely sniff you and decide if you're safe or not. This is not infallible.
Not to mention that is a much more fleshy part for them to bite, so
right, you
less
want
damage.
To bite that. Yeah. And where do you stand on the stare off into the distance? Yeah, pretty much. You just
don't just sit there and make eye contact and stare down into the.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't.
Look up a video of a dog getting yelled at and watch what that dog does. So what it's doing is...
I should film Rudy next time I'm yelling at him.
Huh?
I should film Rudy next time I'm looking at him because he's the best at it.
Greta is terrible. Like, I've got to film Greta because you would think I beat that dog with a metal bat every day. I swear to God. But but that's the thing. Watch them when they're scared and they don't want to get in trouble. It's always because they are looking for anywhere safe, and that's the main thing. So just people who don't discipline correct their children end up raising wild animals, and the justice system has to step in. And the thing is, guys, if you don't raise your dog right, it's not the justice system, it's the euthanasia needle.
People get way more chances than dogs do.
Absolutely. Set your pet up for success, not failure.
Set yourself up for success, not failure.
Right. If you're going to spend money on an animal, if you're going to love and raise it, don't you want to keep it around? I mean, and if you don't, do us all a favor. Don't get the animal. That's all I got to say. Desert Jack is always knows. He's a clever one, that one.
Now you have to say goodnight.
Yes, we have to say goodnight. So, Horror, why don't you let us know what's going on with you this week?
Same thing as always. I do have a new story on my locals. If you want to stop by and read it and, like, subscribe. You don't even have to give me money. Just stop by and read it. I like it when people read the stuff. And then you can contact me on Twitter or something and let me know what you thought. You don't even have to give money. I don't care. I just want you to read it. So
you like money. So
I do like money. So I'm not going to argue if you do give me money. But, you don't have to.
Right.
It's a totally voluntary process. Then Midweek Hump, who are having Drunk 3PO on this week. He's got his Achromatic Chronicles Blue coming out, and he's coming on to talk about it with us. And then it's, just the normal, maybe stream on Thursday, maybe not. We'll be streaming Friday, Saturday, maybe streaming Sunday, maybe not. And then I'll be back here on Monday.
Right? Well, I'm sorry, guys, but I don't have a fake penis that pisses to end this out with. I'm sorry.
Damn. So I was looking forward to that.
We can get it for 3 p.m. How about that?
Okay.
I'm sure
we'll see if we can.
Yeah. And as for me, guys, especially this week, I am going to do my utmost. I'm sorry my video came out late. I literally passed out the moment I got home the other night. But this week, the video should be coming out on time. As a matter of fact, right as soon as I turn off this camera, I am recording it tonight, and then I'm going to sleep. But you will catch me tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. for Chat and Draw. You will catch my new video Thursday 3 p.m. Both are EST. Otherwise, just keep an eye out on my Instagram, and every time you see my stories, give me some encouragement, because your girl's gonna be running ragged, and her knees are telling her how old she is. Okay, like, let me tell you something, guys.
Sitting over here thinking, why is she whining about being old?
I'm so old. My knees and my hip tell me so. Listen, she may be 41, but she ages like 17. So, and I clearly, she walks up and down stairs all the time. Her knees are far better than mine. So
I have to get up here.
Listen, let me tell you something.
I hate these stairs.
Bruh. I think it was last week, not this week, that I did all the rearranging in the apartment, and then this week we're restructuring it. It's just, pray for me, guys. But otherwise, you'll see me tomorrow evening, right here on my channel if you're watching from my YouTube. I also stream to my Twitch and my Twitter, and you'll see me on Thursday. And otherwise, that's it. Thank you, James, tonight for the super chats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you for being here. Remember to tell the people that are important to you that you love them, and to be safe. Get your animals fixed. And if you don't know how to raise your animal, YouTube is fucking free. Look up a guide.
She's right.
I love you.
I love you too.
You be safe.
You too.
You have a fun week. And everyone tell Hara to feel better. She's just getting over a cold.
I'm getting there. I'm going to live. Maybe.
We love you.
Good night.
Wonderful Elder God, we love you. You guys all have a great night. Pray for your girl and for her knees. And
she'll make it.
I'll do it. It's gonna hurt like a son bitch, but I'll do it. Bye, everybody.